Simple answer, no. It's not the smart approach, in my opinion, but it's always with a little bit of it depends.
One of the things that screenwriters are told when they're trying to get into the business is to focus on writing lower budget stuff. Um, do you find that to be the case? Like, do you rep people that are in a certain budgetary range in terms of the cost of making their films, or is it just the story and that's it? And I go from there.
No one is like, no, you can only write lower budget projects because you're less experienced. Because if your script is great, why not? Why can't you write the next big budget action
Mm-hmm.
project? And it's if it's good, right? If it's the top of the blacklist, if it's something that sparks interest. Um, one of my friends wrote this script, Stay Frosty, I think it's called. Um, that they got a producer on it. They brought on a great director, Idris Elba attached, and that thing sold for $1 million, and it's a big budget movie. And I don't think he had previous credits. I mean, I think he had been kind of a working writer for a while. So I think the point being, if it's a great script, people are going to people are always going to be thinking, is this viable? Is this a script that can work, can attach, attract talent and do all of that? Now, that all being said, it is specific to genre, right? No one wants $100 million, rom-com, or a contained horror movie that costs $100 million. But if the budget is reasonable for the type of talent it can attract, the genre, etc., I think there's opportunity. And I also encourage my writers to write for where they want to end up. So it's like, if you want to write $50 million action movies, you should write a sample or a spec. It's a $50 million action movie, because that's what people are going to read. And yeah, maybe this one won't sell, but the producers who are making the stuff that you want to make, are going to read your material. I think simple answer, no. I don't think it's not the smart approach, in my opinion. Um, I think everything but it's always with a little bit of it depends.
Mm-hmm.
I do think there is opportunities to make lower budget content in certain genres easier. Or I have a client right now who's working on kind of a very low budget, I think it's a horror, a script, with a director, because there was an opportunity presented. It was like, look, we have a really good shot at getting this thing made with this package, with this team, but the budget has to be at this certain budget level. It's like, great, there's an opportunity there. They write genre stuff, so that's fine. That even though it's lower budget than some of the other stuff that we're doing for her, there's an opportunity there to take stuff out. And certainly with directors, it's if you're a director, writer, director, it's a little different. And obviously getting something made isn't always better, but certainly is an opportunity that you kind of have to weigh. It's like, okay, if I write this contained for $500,000, there's much better chance that I have of making that, which then can lead to other opportunities that are bigger budgets down the line.
Right. Yeah. No, I went through that with the contained thriller that I directed last year, so I know exactly what you're talking about. Is it in my lane as a writer? Probably not. I didn't write it, so that's probably what the reason that it worked out.
And that's the whole other thing. I mean, that goes back to my, like, what do you write everything? I take the position that a credit isn't always. I shouldn't say it's necessarily bad, but like, sometimes having something that's outside your purview doesn't help you. Like no one really cares that you've made a horror short if you want to be a rom-com writer.
Right.
So it's about trying to kind of get your when you're kind of introducing yourself to the town, that they're introducing you a certain way and think of you a certain way. And so again, things can be contained in a slightly lower budget, right? So many of these filmmakers who are making, great Marvel movies, think of Patty Jenkins, think of Colin Trevorrow. I think he did what, Safety Not Guaranteed. Was that him?
Yeah, yeah, great
Um,
film.
that's certainly a much lower budget, but from there you can kind of, can you extrapolate from these projects into something that's bigger.
Yeah, he just did the Jurassic Park movies, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, there's a lot of directors that you see that are blowing up pretty fast. They'll do something independent, and the next thing you know, they're doing a massive $100 million movie. It seems to happen. And sometimes when you're looking at the leap from one to the other, it's not clearly evident how those dots got connected.